Welcome to Red Dirt DnD. I'm Michael Cross, and I play Gideon Block, a paladin with a tragic past.
And I'm Kiri Hester, Poppy Tea Leaf, a highborn halfling druid searching for a new life.
I'm Johnny Payne, and I play Zonimus Tanar, a half-elf rogue with a past he can't seem to escape.
I'm Brooke Bullock, and I play Coughran Stone Shaper, a young dwarf sorcerer getting out to understand his own arcane gifts.
And I'm Ash King, your dungeon master. Join us now for Tales from the Kalban Frontier. As the hot Kalban sun continues to beat down on your forms, the prairie is made even warmer by the gunshots that ring out as you are dealing with this group of goblins that has invaded your train. They have piled up a number of deadfall trees and other obstacles in front of the steam engine, preventing it from moving forward to reach its final destination of the last stop. You have fought your way from the passenger car into one of the cattle cars, and now finally next to the steam engine, where Pa Snaggletooth, the apparent leader of this small band of hungry goblins, had been leading his force. However, a gunshot has cracked out, and Pa has slumped forward across the back of the great alpha wolf that he used to call his favorite mount. Zominus pulls the pistol back, holstering it, before he pulls out his bladed weapons, preparing to see what lies next. However, it is Coughran who reacts first.
I'm fixing to knock you off your rails, varmint. With a swing and a miss of a 3.
Yeah, the shock of seeing Pa slump over his wolf kind of pulled the two goblins that were fighting up against you into a bit of a stupor as they yelled out. You, however, kind of, you maintain the focus. You barely even acknowledge what's going on behind you, so trusting in the abilities of your party members that you swing at this stupefied goblin, and even though they are, shocked by what has just happened to their leader, they still manage to jump out of the way as you swing wildly with your warhammer, and they turn their attention back to you, remembering that there is a threat at hand that needs to be dealt with.
Hold still, dagnabbit.
Gideon.
Is the wolf still on me?
The wolf is still in front of you, yes.
Okay.
And it seems to trying to make a decision whether it wants to continue the fight or if it wants to run.
Okay. I am going... Can I holster my revolver and then draw my rapier?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to hold the rapier right at the wolf's head.
Okay.
In a menacing, just get type of motion.
Okay, so you're trying to get it to run?
To run.
Give me an intimidation check.
Oh, so close to it. Intimidation, though, is a 13 of it. 13.
13? Okay. We'll see if you actually manage to rattle its nerves. Okay. It seems to be much more shaken with, your threat.
I'll pass turn for that.
Okay. That will bring us to the two goblins who, one of them is actually going to disengage from you, Coughran, and runs over to the wolf and Pa and climbs up onto the back as he's kind of covering Pa with his body and takes a tuft of this wolf's fur and gives this wolf's sides a little kick to try and get it to start moving. And it does. It basically decides to kind of break rank and starts running off into the prairie.
Normally, of course, that would give me a opportunity attack on the... Instead, can I just look at the goblin right before he runs away and says, Gideon Block, remember the name.
I will allow it. Yeah, the goblin kind of gives you a little look of just absolute terror as he's, covering Paw's body with his own, to prevent any further damage to his leader, and they
And I sheath my
take off.
sword and let him go past.
Okay. There is one goblin remaining who just kind of tears running down his cheeks, but is very, with Makran's intent on trying to end his existence, he's less inclined to run. And he will attempt to knife you, but it's only a 13.
Yeah, so normally maybe that would have hit, but maybe it just kind of skips across the top of this really stony appearance that Coughran has, this hardened skin tone that he has.
Alright, and he kind of just looks at you and just, how in the hell? He's very, very shocked by this turn of events. Alright, Poppy.
I'm just going to... Is there a way that I don't know where I'm standing in connection, here's what I'm saying. Let me think about my words. I would like to stand on the opposite side of this goblin from Coughran, so that the goblin is within 5 feet of me, but Coughran is not.
Yes. Yes. You can circle around.
Yes. I'd like to just go around. And you just don't know who you're messing with. We are powerful folks, and we have abilities. And Poppy will kind of take her hands out to her sides, bring them up above her head, and clap them together and cast Thunderclap.
Okay.
Which is a DC 12 con save.
Okay. This goblin actually passes.
So he takes no damage, but there is an impressive sound of thunder out of the clear blue sky.
Yes.
And all three of us go, oh, and our jaws completely drop.
Did that come out of her?
Yes, I say. So you bring your hands up and just clap them together, and this huge peal of thunder just rings out. It causes everyone kind of in the area to look up.
Steam and whistles, what was that?
And one of the crew that is still nearby, you just hear them in a very small voice, just, Thundercrack?
Oh.
Yeah. So hopefully it didn't hurt him, but maybe it scared him a little bit.
Scared him. Maybe just, the goblin too, also, not fully realizing that the noise came from you, does look up in the sky and cowers down a little bit. Ooh. But, alright, Zominus.
I'm gonna look at Gideon. Look at the other, kind of nod at the other goblin. You shake your head, yeah? That's good.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna walk on over,
Okay.
and I'm gonna say, hey, goblin.
What?
And swing with my rapier. For math, 21.
That will hit.
Doing 8 points of damage. And then I'm gonna stick him with my dagger.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick at him with my dagger.
Yeah, the first swing, you catch him by surprise. The second swing, he manages to dodge out of the way just in time, so you whiff. He's looking at you dead in the eyes. You are now the new target of his ire.
I'll grin at him.
Coughran.
So Coughran goes ahead and swings again with his Warhammer two-handed. Oh, cheese and crackers! Dang it! So a 10 on the damage, but only an 8 on the. Oh, sorry, only a 7 on the hit on the actual connection. Dang it!
Yeah, again, just kind of now that more people have kind of gotten involved in the melee, you're kind of used to one-on-one sparring. With your dwarven training, that's mostly what you did. Was just just exercise, get the muscles going. But you've never really been involved in a real fight.
Makes perfect sense.
So you're off your game just a little bit, and you miss this goblin again as it kind of ducks low to avoid the swing. Gideon.
I'm gonna walk up very slowly with my rapier and just draw my rapier again.
Okay.
And then come up and just try and clock him with it, non-lethal.
Okay. Yeah, give me an attack roll.
And I completely whiff.
This
All of a sudden, we cannot
squiggly
hit
little goblin.
this
Oh my
goblin.
god.
Who we apparently think is
goblin
much
ninja.
taller than he really is. Because we keep swinging at eye level, and he is way shorter. Because I got a 7. So,
Yeah, no, you very much had whiffed badly, as there's a reason that he's called Twinkle Toes.
Goblin with decks.
So yeah, so he's kind of dancing around you guys and just avoiding as many hits as he can. You do notice he kind of looks over your shoulder, Gideon, and basically sees that the wolf with his brother and Pa have made it far enough away that, there's no hope of you guys actually, catching up to them. And taking it in his surroundings and seeing that he is but one lone goblin amongst a sea of much taller individuals.
except Poppy.
Except
me.
He takes his little dagger and just opens his hand and drops it, and drops down to his knees with his hands held up. Seems like he knows the routine. So he surrenders.
Yeah. So I go to tie him up.
Yeah, he's quiet, but there's definitely a rumbling in his chest of just pure frustration.
I'll offer him a biscuit.
He spits at your feet.
Oh, he's not as happy as the other
Yeah,
one.
that's not as...
He's not as hungry as the other one.
Fine. I'll give this one to Ziggly. Did my wolf run away during this whole thing?
No.
I give the biscuit to the wolf.
Yeah.
Very, it's that very ginger kind of, very strange for a wolf, but it's that soft mouth of, like a lab, just very gently taking the treat between his lips before pulling back and then chomp.
Now, sir, if you would like to stay with us, you must be nice and not attack anybody. But if that is not what you want, my companionship and friendship, then this will be the time for you to run away. And I kind of point out towards the prairie and give him a chance to run away or be my friend. And I hold up my list with puppy dog on it, just waiting to see what he does.
Give me an animal handling check with advantage.
Okay, no +2, so let's see what happens.
Come on, beef jerky.
That's a 21.
Yay!
And that 19.
All right, Poppy. So you have just obtained a new friend.
It's wonderful.
So as part of your character sheet, you can go ahead and include a goblin-trained wolf.
I'm gonna have to learn how to speak Goblin. He probably only understands orders in Goblin.
Now you're gonna have to feed him and take him for walks if you're gonna have a dog.
I'll take care of him, Other Paw. I promise.
And you do notice kind of on, he had, those saddlebags, that backpack, but also there's kind of a very unique harness on this wolf. So again, it seems as if this particular wolf pack, was either raised or trained by these goblins as mounts. So you can, because you are a small creature, you can actually ride this thing.
I'm going to not do that quite yet, because that seems dangerous. I'm going to do that with adult supervision. So I'm just going to give him pets and chinny scratches and say, they're going to clear the tracks, but then we're going to have to get on the train. So if you need to take care of your wolfy business, this would be the time to do so. And just kind of I'm going to walk next to him, but also grant him a little bit of privacy if he needs to take care of wolfy business.
Okay.
Hey, Poppy.
Yeah.
I'll point to the wolf. He sleeps outside.
He can't run alongside the train.
He can come in the train with us, but when we get where we're going, night falls. I'm not cuddling up to some mangy flea-bitten hound.
I wouldn't ask you to.
I think most of us are gonna be sleeping outside. So
That's fine. Outside in the open in the fresh air, but it's bad enough I have to sleep I'm not sleeping next to a dog.
And I check get puppy dog off my list. So now it just says tame large bear.
we're gonna be a walking zoo.
menagerie.
I mean, that's what tends to happen when, a druid comes
When you
along.
got a druid in your party? Yeah.
All of a sudden, just the strangest thing happens. There's animals just popping out of everywhere. You don't know where they come
She
from.
will find a zebra. So I go find an engineer. Go find the engineer, who you said was kind of cowering back.
Yeah, he'd been cowering. He kind of dusts himself off and looks to you and says, "Well, thank you, stranger. Much obliged."
Well, Gideon Block, these are my friends, Zonimus and Macron and Poppy, and we just took down some goblins in the back. We got one captive. We got three captives now, goblins. So what would you like us to do with it?
Oh goodness. Well, best thing to do will probably be to we'll stick them in one of the cattle cars, and when we get to the last stop, Riza Bravestar, she'll know what to do with them. She's the sheriff in town.
Macron, after tying up the one that gave himself up there, Twinkletoes, after tying up Twinkletoes, he kind of walks back over there and he says,
Is this here a common thing that the rail company, Black Hands Rail Company, has to deal with?
Well, we don't often report it, just it happens from time to time. The goblins are usually a pretty peaceful lot. They don't bother us too much, but sometimes, especially the boys, they get a little hungry, get a little hankering, and they start making choices.
And you can tell Macron's kind of, maybe someone who's really perceptive might see that he's processing this idea that he really needs to do a good job for his family. He's kind of got this chance, and yeah, they're supposed to be mapping the Caliban frontier, but if he could bring more stability to the actual rail line itself in the process, maybe that might help out with his family graces a little bit.
Yeah, you kind of you get the idea from this engineer, just the way he's talking about the goblins. It's like, this is something that happens every once in a while, and yeah, it sucks and it causes a delay, but, usually for the most part, they just let them do their thing and then report it to the sheriffs, and maybe something happens. But the crew, the rest of the train crew, does go to quickly start clearing the tracks and clearing off this deadfall. Doesn't take too much. It was a very, very quickly made fortification, so the tracks underneath aren't damaged, and there's not going to be any. Again, it's a minor inconvenience to them at best, but we'll say, as you, because probably Poppy, I would imagine that you pull these saddlebags off of this, off of your new wolf friend.
Yes. Well, I probably tried. I'm not very strong. I may have had to request some assistance.
Well, you do find the loot.
Oh.
Howdy friends, Michael Cross here, taking just a few moments away from Red Dirt DnD, asking you to become a patron of this podcast. Your support means we can add a lot of extra niceties to the show in the form of artwork and music, as well as supporting our cast and crew. Patrons get early access to content as well as bonus material, along with access to our Discord server. You can even get an invite to monthly Q&A sessions and DM classes, maybe even a 2-hour game session with our very own Dungeon Master, Ash King. We have 6 different monthly levels to choose, ranging from $5 to $100. Head over to patreon.com/reddirtdnd right now to show your support for this new podcast. Now, back to Tales from the Caliban Frontier.
Booty.
The booty that these goblins either, you're not sure if it was taken from the train or if it was, already in the saddlebags from a previous altercation, but you find about 22 gold in various coins, mostly silver. There's also a small bag of 8 spinel gemstones.
Oh, those really catch Macron's eye.
Yes,
he'd love to look at those.
Very shiny. There's a couple of potions and a small box of what you think might be like snuff. It's a very fine powder.
I'm going to... Let's see. So, am I by myself when I go through this bank?
You're wherever you want to be.
When he's taking care of his wolfy business, maybe I went ahead and kind of just pulled it off him, and I said, I'm just going to sit right here. You go do your wolfy business. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the potions in my pocket.
Okay.
I'm going to take 5 of the silver and also put that in my pocket.
Okay.
Then I'm going to, after he's done with his wolfy business, we're going to go back and I'm going to approach Gideon. I believe these do not belong to us or these goblins. I do not know what we should do with them.
Well, that's very good of you to turn that in, Poppy. I turn over to the engineer. I say,
Hold up. There's a code out here.
to finders keepers.
You've heard of it.
I have, and you're right. So I don't turn over to the engineer.
Macron's eyebrow kind of, gets that big arc on his forehead as he's kind of like contemplating this finders keepers phrase again from Zonimus and immediately thinking about, his hand being real close to Macron's boot that one time. And he's just kind of processing this about, but then Gideon goes along with it. And so that eyebrow kind of, drifts back down into a more normal look. And it's like,
I throw the saddlebags over to you. So you make the decision. You got the kill shot.
Oh, well, if we're going to keep it, then...
Sorry.
I leave the potions in my pocket, but I take the 5 silver out that I was going to give to Zonimus anyway.
Looks like decision's already been made.
I was going to give this to you as,
Did you find that in these bags?
Yeah.
You see, we find these bags out here in the wild frontier.
I didn't know
See,
about
we
the
found
finders
things,
keepers.
Mac.
I
We're
didn't-
finding things.
I didn't know
That's
about
what it
finders
means about
keepers
finding.
either, so...
And I go talk to the engineer. I'll let you guys deal with that. I'm not going to... And help clear out
I'll
the...
reach in the bag and pull one of those stones out. Hold it up to the light right in front of you.
and you see Macron's eyes kind of get big, and suddenly he's thinking maybe finding things is an okay deal. He's like, what is it? And he,
I'll toss it up in the air and catch it right in front of you. Closed in my hand, you can't see it anymore. And go, what do you think? Code, right?
it's like, it's just Uncle Jacoby. He gave me a
Slowly
second
open
chance.
my hand and let the sun hit that gem.
Can we,
Sparkles.
maybe we can just express a little willpower, or maybe what we need to do. Hold on, what would Uncle Jacoby do?
Tell you what,
Uncle Jacoby would
you
say.
come see me when you got that figured out.
And as I'm
We'll
walking
do
away, I
something
just
about
say, plausible deniability.
All right.
I'm going back to my car. Get comfortable. Find a place to stow this saddlebag.
Would you like to try to identify those potions, Miss Poppy?
Yes, I would, because I actually have proficiency in Arcana.
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be a 17.
17. Okay. So you identify these. One is a potion of fire breathing. The second is a potion of fire resistance.
I'll take that one. We'll toast and drink together.
The player says, let's give him to the wolf.
And then there is also that box of snuff.
Yeah,
You
I
think
left that in there.
that it's snuff, but you're not sure.
Would you like some help, Zonimus? I know items. I came from a wealthy family. I've seen a lot of stuff. Would you like me to help you identify any curious items in there?
Maybe later.
Okay.
A gambler once told me you never count your money while you're sitting at the table.
I'm going to invite my BFF Wolf onto the...
Oh, it
Train.
bounds into the train and does that thing, that dogs do. It
I
has
open the window
zoomies
for
for
him.
a second before it jumps onto one of the benches near your party and twirls for a second before settling down and setting its head on the armrest. Just
Wonderful. And then I put my potions, I slip them in my pocket and put them in my backpack of many things. And I'm gonna, because I would be no help trying to move that stuff, so I just sit inside the train.
Yeah, I mean, it takes them, it's a good 30 minutes before the tracks are finally cleared. And then they sound the whistle to make sure, because a few other people just kind of were like, okay, we're going to take this opportunity to just stretch our legs and kind of get some fresh air. The bodies of the fallen goblins have kind of been, with a little bit of reverence, pulled out kind of into the prairie, so that way they're not, quite so obvious. They've kind of covered them over, and someone has even kind of placed a couple of copper coins over their eyes and, blessed them that the goddess Dusk will come and collect their souls and lead them to a kinder place. But...
So you said some people went outside to stretch their legs, get some fresh air?
Mm-hmm.
Left all their stuff in their cars?
Some
I'm
have
go
taken...
over to the bodies and also pay my respects and not look over
Some
what
have
he's doing.
taken their items, and others, have kind of, assuming that the train cars are relatively safe now, have left a few bags.
Go for a long, slow walk down the hallway in the train.
Okay.
Maybe peek inside any loose doors.
Okay.
Do I see anything interesting?
Well, when you get to one of the passenger cars, one of the cattle cars, it's kind of the first one, off the actual passenger. You almost ignore it for a second until you think you hear a thump.
I lean back and look inside.
Give me a perception check.
17.
17. Yeah, at first you think it might be, maybe it's the goblins that you guys had tied up. You weren't exactly sure where the railway crew took them. So it was a 17?
Yes, it was.
You catch just the tip of a tail as something darts in between a couple of the crates.
Does it look more like varmint or bigger?
About the same size as a goblin.
All right.
But definitely more lizard-like.
So I'm saying I'm outside the train, right? Looking into the car, standing there. I'm gonna reach into the car and just kind of knock on the floor. Any scurrying, scuffling?
You don't really hear anything. I mean, with your perception check from before, you did hear the scurrying of claws, maybe? Across the wooden planks of the car.
I'll jump inside.
Okay. Go ahead and give me another perception check.
Well, it's a 4.
4? Yeah, your eyes are having to adjust to the low light conditions. Looking around, kind of opening up crate, but you don't necessarily catch sight of anything.
All right. I'll turn and start to head back to the open.
Okay. And as you do, you hear a...
It rolled a 1.
Bless you.
You hear something scurrying for a second, and suddenly this little, very lizard-like, but very small, kind of echoes the dragonborn that you met in the storyteller's tent at the circus those last few days ago. And it kind of looks at you with this very worried glance, and its hand is kind of pulled back, and you see that there's a bit of fire starting to form around it, and just, don't tell anyone I'm here.
What are you doing?
I'm going places. What are you doing here?
This train goes all the way to the end, right?
Duh.
All right. Seen the goblins?
Not lately.
Tried to scrape your claws across the hard wooden floor so much. It attracts attention.
Yeah, that's a problem around here. He very slowly closes his fist and lets the magic fizzle out.
I will remove my hand off my side now. I'll tell you what, I'll see you at the end of the rail. Come find me.
Much obliged, friend.
I'll hop out of the car.
Kind of glancing back, you see him, lift up the lid of a crate and scurry inside.
Oh, Zonimus, I've been a-thinking, and, it appears by the manifest that maybe some of them gems and stuff don't belong to the Black Hand Rail Company, so, maybe you and I could sit down for a piece and we could look over them and just kind of, see what their value might be and stuff.
Yeah, we this train gets rolling again, we can sit down and maybe figure out some way to divvy them up.
Oh, that'd be... And
Remember,
Macron,
I haven't won a game against you yet.
yeah, that is exactly the thought that was in Macron's head that Zonimus says out loud. You could see the smile kind of on his face a little bit of like, oh yeah, that could be fun. So.
All right. So you all make your way back to the passenger car that you had been assigned to and settle back in for the remainder of your journey. As you start to pull in to the last stop, you do notice a female half-orc riding atop a paint horse. Very lovely brown and white splotches on this animal. You see her kind of break off from the main part of town and brings her horse to kind of ride along the side of the train, motioning a greeting to both the passengers and to the conductor. The train pulls into a stately rail stop. Very much dwarven architecture, nice strong lines made of sturdy stone that looks like it could withstand just about anything.
You notice right there, see how that blends together? That's no mortar at all. That's just fine craftsmanship.
So we're someplace fancy.
Yeah, I'd say. They brought out some excellent dwarven workers right there for that. So it's quality stuff.
The dwarven architecture begins and ends with the railway station. The rest of the town looks to be a mishmash of various architectural styles, and some of the buildings are wooden and look like fairly recent construction. They've been building this place up for a short time. You do still see there's a few kind of temporary shelters towards the edges of town, but for the most part it has been built up and looks like it has been built up fairly quickly. So the things are still very fresh, still very recent. They don't have that kind of weather-worn look that some other frontier settlements might have. But as you all disembark, you do see the half-orc woman is standing kind of on the rail platform now and seems to be taking command of the 3 goblins that you all have managed to wrangle up.
I make my way to her immediately.
I pull my hat down low immediately.
And I actually pull my cowl back. Do I notice that she is in any way authority of any kind?
Give me a perception check.
It's an 8.
An 8. Well, even with an 8, you do notice with her body language, especially, she has that very straight, perfect posture, shoulders back, head held high, and glinting on the lapel of her duster is a 5-pointed silver star with the symbol of Daga on it.
And I've got my shield out to show also my symbol of Daga that is on the shield, and I walk up. Howdy, Gideon Block.
She turns to you and offers a hand and gives you a very firm handshake. Sheriff Riza Brave Star.
Glad to meet you, Sheriff.
Good to meet you, too. I hear that you and your friends were instrumental in capturing these little miscreants. She kind of says it, there's a little bit of humor to her voice, like, this ain't the first time she's seen these particular goblins. They all kind of look up at her with a mix of respect, but also a little bit of, aw shucks, we got caught.
Well, I think it's right to do our duty to keep everybody safe. If y'all just don't mind me saying, they seemed a bit hungry.
Yeah, it's a common occurrence. Boys, did you even tell them your little name there? And Twinkle Toes pipes up and says, "We're the Hungry Boys!"
Well, you live up to your moniker. That's very good. So, what is your plan to do with them, if I might ask?
Well, obviously disturbing the peace and breaking into the train that warrants some punishment. So I think I'm gonna put these boys up in one of my cells for a couple days, get them some fine warm meals, and then my deputy and I will take them back to the Warren, and we'll let Ma deal with you. And they all kind of, ooh, Ma. She'll set them right.
I think you also might know that Pa might be dead.
What?
He was shot and killed.
Oh. Yeah, Twinkle Toes pops up. Yeah, he shot him and points right at Zominus. And she looks up at you. Was it in self-defense?
It probably saved a life. And I look over at Gideon.
He did. If it hadn't been for Zonimus, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Well, it's unfortunate, but you did what you had to do.
Doing my duty as a concerned citizen, ma'am.
I see. Well, hopefully, now that you're in our fair town, you won't be faced with such hardships. As she kind of continues to round up the remains of the hungry bunch. And then she kind of looks back at you and says, "Don't misunderstand me. I am grateful for what you have done and for capturing a number of the hungry bunch. I wish that Pa didn't have to meet such a grisly end. He was unique, quite the character. But I will see what I have to do to make amends with Ma and the rest of the Warren. I have to think about this. But y'all go ahead and head on into town. It's been an interesting day all around." So she continues to round up the hungry bunch and replace your ropes with actual manacles as she starts to lead them towards the sheriff's office. Your journey into the Caliban frontier has most certainly been an interesting one. Who's to say what these first few encounters and first few brushes with the locals will eventually turn into? But you know that this is just the beginning.
Red Dirt D&D is Ash King as our Dungeon Master, Brooke Bullock as Macron Stoneshaper, Johnny Payne as Zonimus Dinar, Kiri Hester as Poppy Tealeaf, and I'm Michael Cross as Gideon Block. Our sound producer is Mark Coughran. Our theme music was created by the cinemagician P.J. Castillo. Our incidental music comes from Jeffrey McBride, and our sound effects courtesy of tabletopaudio.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our new home on the interwebs, reddirtdnd.com. We here at Red Dirt D&D could really use your help in getting the word out about us. If you like what you've heard, make sure and subscribe, rate us, and leave a comment. Also, tell your friends about Red Dirt D&D. You can also support the show at patreon.com/reddirtdnd. We have several giving levels to help us grow up big and strong. And finally, a special thank you to KOSU for giving us a platform to do what we love so much. Join us next time as we go deeper into the Caliban frontier.